Ooh, welcome everyone to another episode of Slasher Scotty. I am your host, Scotty McCoy, and boy, do I have a surprise for all of you. I have, oh my God, another recurring guest this week on the show. And what a special day to have you on Friday the 13th. Can't
It's a
get any better. I'm a camp counselor today.
beautiful. I love it.
I got Shawn Thompson. He directed, he's writing The Hive. It's I can't wait to talk about it. How you doing, Sean?
I'm awesome, brother. Hey, it's Friday the 13th. How can you not be having a good day, right?
Right, exactly. So let's kick off before we actually get into your movie and a little bit about you. How did you spend and enjoy your Friday the 13th?
Well, since it is a Friday, it was pretty typical. Up at 4:30 to the gym, then to the regular day, and then the work, and then film stuff,
Yeah.
preparing, shooting different ideas for different cast members, location scouting, all that fun stuff. So didn't get to do any Jason centric stuff, but I'm sure we'll do a little binge watching this weekend for sure.
Sounds like a plan. Yeah, I watched a couple of things on just I was cleaning up my office a little bit. I told we were supposed to do this interview was it last week and had that unfortunate flood. So I've been doing I finally got a lot like the floor is mostly cleared up. I have over here is a little wet, but not as bad, but been now doing a lot of cleaning. So while I was cleaning, I just put on Pluto TV. They have the Friday the 13th marathon running on there. So I
Nice.
had that on as background noise, and
I have
just
seen a I've seen a couple people post some short fan film stuff on Facebook and stuff. So it's been entertaining to watch some of those.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So how I guess to give people more of an I guess an in-depth perspective about yourself before we go into the movie, like how did you
Sure.
get your start into filmmaking?
I'll be honest, everything kind of started around COVID. I was We all had to work from home.
Hmm.
Uh, and so that it gave me an opportunity, or, a couple hours a day in travel that was no longer needed. Um, and I started making some Friday the 13th masks, like COVID masks, and started going online and seeing if there was any interest in that kind of stuff. And that kind of altered my algorithm on social media towards a lot of horror stuff, movie centric stuff, and whatnot. I ended up getting hooked up with Peter Anthony. I'm not sure if you've spoken with him or not.
Love Peter Anthony, great friend of
Yes,
mine.
he's a great guy. So
Yep.
I ended up getting hooked up with him and connected with him, and he was talking about a Friday the 13th fan film that he was making, Roseblood.
Hmm.
And it was funny because he said, "Do you have any interest in something like that?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm not an actor, but I appreciate it." He was like, "No, no, you can do this." And I'm like, "Okay, well, if you believe in me, if I'll give me something small because I've never done anything like this." And it was an amazing experience. Met a lot of really talented people and
Nice.
learned a lot. And from there, I came home, worked on some local stuff here that was for local competitions,
Mhm.
and just got a thirst for it. I guess would be the easiest way to explain it.
Nice.
I've loved movies all my life. I mean, there's foot photos and stuff that my late grandmother, had given me,
Hmm.
that have stacks of VHS tapes back in the day, and now I have
Right.
stacks of DVDs. And I just embraced it and kind of rode the wave. I call it a hobby, but
Hmm.
it's amazing how well the film family has embraced me, and
Yeah.
it's been exciting. It's been a rush. I've done some stuff I can't even believe that it's only been 4 years, but it's been a rush.
Yeah, absolutely. So you got bit hard by the acting bug.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh
Did
yeah.
you meet Lar Park Lincoln on set?
Unfortunately, I did not because we were
Okay.
in the middle of COVID. It was a very restrictive set, so I didn't
Uh,
get to work with her per se. So I didn't get to see her.
mhm.
I was locked down with another shoot when they did the red carpet event for that, so I didn't get to
Mhm.
fly up for that one as well. But
Uh,
and her unfortunate passing as of late. So
yeah, oh my gosh, when I found out she passed away, my like heart sunk into my stomach.
mhm.
Like I couldn't believe it because I have so many memories with her. I had her on the show, of
Did you?
course. Um, it was funny because I was just finding out that all these like actors from Friday the 13th and some of the Halloween and all that are on Facebook and they add
Yeah.
their fans. So I
Yeah.
added a bunch of them. and Lar Park was like one of the first that I added. And I got like fangirl because part seven is actually my favorite. It's hated by a lot of people, but it's my favorite because it's the first horror movie I've ever seen.
Okay.
So when I watched her, so when she added me, I'm like, oh my god, thank you for adding me, Lar Park. And I tagged her in it, Lar Park Lincoln, and I said you're my favorite final girl. This is your movie, Friday the 13th Part Seven, The New Blood was the first film I've ever seen that got me into horror at 6 years old. I didn't think she'd respond. She responded. She goes,
That's awesome.
6 years old in all caps. I would never let my kids watch that at that age. Mr. McCoy, you're in hot water with me.
Yeah.
LOL. Thank you,
Yeah.
buddy. I love hearing these stories.
That's awesome though.
Amazing first conversation with Lar, and we became friends, and we talked every now and again. And unfortunately, she passed. Shocked, just
Yeah.
shocked.
Yeah.
But great person. So you're working on a movie. It's not released yet. The Hive, right?
No, we're going to we're in pre-production.
Okay.
I have a couple more roles to cast out still. The official schedule for filming is Q4 of this year and Q1
Okay.
of next year. We are going to shoot some smaller scenes with smaller cast on weekends leading up to that one. But yeah, so I'm excited about it. I got an amazing group of people, talented actors and actresses from all across the country, and Peter included. He's going to be coming in,
Nice.
and it's just I've been truly blessed with just a lot of people that are reaching out to me and saying, I want to be a part of it. How can I be a part of it? And that's
Absolutely.
for someone like myself that is so new at this, that is still building a name and a reputation in this industry.
Yeah.
I couldn't be more honored to have people reach out to me and say, is there something for me? So
Right.
that's just amazing.
Absolutely. So, for those that are unaware, what is the Hive about?
I think it's best described as a hybrid between I'm going to age myself here, a very old Morgan Freeman movie called Kiss the Girls,
Okay.
and a movie called Vacancy from a couple decades ago. It's a standard good versus evil. Um, Women are being kidnapped. Nobody knows what's happening to them. Police seem to be lost for some strange reason. They can't seem to get any leads that are sticking, and so they bring the FBI in to figure out exactly what's going on. And then essentially you start learning some details. You start seeing who's good, who's bad, who you think is good, who you think is bad, and then things kind of switch, move, adjust. And if you're not paying attention, you may find out the good guy is actually the bad guy. The bad guy made the good guy.
Hmm.
Keep you guessing all the way through the third act and actually into the credits. So if
Okay.
you're an astute old school movie viewer, I'm purposely leaving some hints through the film,
Nice.
so that if you're really paying attention, you may be able to figure out the third act and the first act. If you're not paying attention, then you're going to figure out and you're going to be like, where did that even come from? So
Wow.
I,
Nice.
I'm, like I said, I'm going to be 55 this year. So I'm of the generation, if you will, that immersed in movies and was picking clues out and finding wait, exactly how did they say that and what words did they use and what do they mean by that, more so than just let me know when there's another cool kill on scene. So
Yeah. Absolutely. So what was your writing process in creating this movie?
um so to be upfront, I have no formal education in writing, to
Hmm.
put it out there. I just know what I want to see. So honestly, what I did is I created scenes, and then I figured out how to bridge the scenes,
Hmm.
and then I figured out how to connect, interlace those scenes together so they're
Yeah.
logical. And then as I'm creating the various scenes, I would, sweep back to, like I said, pieces over here so I can drop a little bit over here so that you figure out, oh, that's how this ties into here. So I'm sure it's probably the exact opposite way to people that probably start off and go, you know, page one and it's just right, as opposed to me that was like, I know I want this, and I know I want this, and I know I want this. Now, how do I get those pieces to work together so that they logically make sense?
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
and that's mostly how I do my writing in terms of novels and that. Like I say, I want this to happen. I want this to happen. I want this to happen. I know it's going to happen. I don't know
Hmm.
when. I don't know where. I just know these scenes will happen in this
Hmm.
book. And then before I even start, when I write that down, then I'm like, okay, so now I need to have characters. I just whatever I like to me the easiest part is coming up with the title of a book and coming up with the characters. I don't know why it's easy for me. Everybody else has trouble coming up with those things. I don't.
Yeah.
I when it comes to characters, I pick names that I like
Hmm.
and then those are in the book. Or
Okay.
I'll do people that I don't know or people I
Okay.
do know, I mean. Friends and use them as inspiration,
Sure.
and think of them as part of the as a character. And then I just give them personality, and then people that I hate, they'll die a gruesome, brutal death.
There you go. It's a cathartic experience, I'm sure.
Right, exactly. It's a an artful way to and legal way to dispose of people you don't
There you go.
like.
Well,
So,
I will say the interesting part to it is that, I wrote it over the span of 2.5 years.
mhm,
So the first year was probably the first half a dozen revisions, and I got to basically at least an end to end story.
right.
And I actually submitted that to be professionally reviewed to see.
Mhm,
Again, I've written some shorts. I've done very well writing very short films,
nice.
but this is my first experience with something bigger. And the
Right.
feedback that I got, I quickly have come to realize you have to have very thick skin when you're doing stuff
Oh
like
yeah.
this, because I mean, one of the readers, and they were these, according to their resume at least, they're people that are reading for stuff that I've seen on the big screen. So I'm taking
Right.
them for their word. And some of them were like, the plot line is crap. And I'm just like, well, damn, man, shit, give me a break. But after you let it go in, you let it breathe, you marinate, and then you write again. And I took sticky notes of all the different thoughts, all the different ideas, blotted them
Hmm.
out, started pulling them off one by one and taking care of all the suggestions they had. I mean, obviously, some suggestions that were made you can't really do on an indie level budget. So you just accept that fact. So those notes kind of go to the side.
Yep.
But a lot of the things that they suggested were very straightforward. They made a lot of sense. And then as I got to what I believed was now a finished revision product, I got to the point where like, okay, it's time to proverbial shit or get off the pot. So I was like, I
Hmm.
announced this is what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be casting. I'm going to start a casting process, and it's going to be a slow, methodical one because I'm reviewing every single audition myself. So this is not going to be a hey, look, we casted everybody in a week. It's not going to be like that. Sorry. So it's been very slow. It's been very methodical. I'm watching every single audition. I'm taking notes, and if somebody I see, I've had several instances where a person may not have been good for this role, but I was like, you know what? I haven't announced that one yet, but man, they're going to be great for that person over there.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I've done is even through that process, I've created characters and scenes because I find as I'm watching, because I watch about a movie every day or
Mhm.
two, I see something, I'm like, you know what, this is missing that.
Yeah.
And in this movie, I was watching an old movie, an old Ray Liotta movie, um, and they did a police raid in the movie, and I'm like, you know what, that's badass. I need something like that. And I'm thinking, so now I'm reviewing the script, like, where can I put that in? So then I actually created a scene to create a diversion to create the police raid that I wanted
Mhm.
to, and then so now I've basically in that scene created another roughly a dozen characters between police, SWAT officers, attorneys, and interrogation officers, and the person that they went after. So
Right.
it kind of grows, and then when you have something like that, you don't want it to make it look like, look, you just clamp this on, it doesn't make any sense. So
Right.
you're like, okay, let's think how we're going to inject this so it makes sense through the whole plot line. And that's been fun too, because one of the things that I found when I look at revision one versus what I have now, revision one, I can see where the people that were professionally reviewing it were like, yeah, whoa, this is rough. Now I'm looking at it, I'm like, yeah, this is good. This is good. It's
Yeah.
got personality to it. Every single scene that I've done, I've spoken the words so that I can hear how they sound as opposed to just writing them. So
Yeah.
I hear them so they sound logical. And then I solicit advice from friends that are in, like, a friend of mine who's an attorney. I sent him the attorney scenes. Does this sound like what this kind of attorney would do? Sent police officer scenes to police officers. Does this sound like the verbiage they would use in their scenes? So the thing that I
Nice.
want
You
to
did
this
your
as much as
homework.
possible. Yeah, I want authenticity to this. I don't
Yeah.
want, I mean, there obviously has to be some theatrics. Otherwise, real life is kind of boring,
Right.
but I want authenticity to it. And that's important to me. So it's been fun.
That's
The
awesome.
yeah.
And it's funny that you mentioned about the thick skin because you definitely do need thick skin. I mean, somebody bought my first movie Samhain is now on YouTube for free, but we did sell DVDs, and I don't know if they bought it at a convention we were at or if they bought it on YouTube when we were selling them on DVDs on YouTube and that. But the very first comment we got on Amazon, we got somebody just commented on the DVD. They're like, I don't even. They go, this movie sucked. I don't even care about getting my money back. I just want my time back.
Oh my God.
So I'm like, I sometimes I can think I have thick skin at times, but when I read that, I just burst out laughing. I'm like, holy fuck!
Yeah, that
Like
one
people
that
are
one's
brutal.
that yeah, that I mean, and to be fair, that's going to be a tough critique to take. I mean, it's
Yeah,
going to happen. I have no doubt that
yeah,
when everything's said and done, there will be people that will watch this and be like, you know what, dude, that sucked, and it's going to hurt because you
yeah.
especially if you invest three, let's say a year and a half to do it, 6 months to cast out, a year, another 6 months to film, probably 6 months to eat. So you're talking 3.5 years of your life to have somebody
Yep,
just go dismiss it and go,
yep,
that's shit. You're like,
yep.
damn. All right, thanks, man.
Yep. Well, we took that critique and we put it in our Friday the 13th fan film. We have a scene in there where we mentioned about, oh, I forgot the marshmallows because they're at the camp, and
Okay,
he goes, hey, don't we know somebody that's allergic to marshmallows? And that's the killer in Samhain was allergic to marshmallows.
gotcha.
So I go, hey, I seen that movie, and then the two other
Oh,
characters would go at the same time. Yeah, that
sucked.
movie sucked. You just have to integrate it, you
Oh,
know?
talk about lemons and lemonade, man. That's awesome.
Exactly. You can't let it get to you because the internet trolls are just gonna, they're gonna do
Yeah,
what they can to bring you down. You let them. You just use that critique and make it build you up.
I love that. That's a very
Absolutely,
good example.
absolutely. So, what is the most important part of getting this film made, and what do you contemplate the hardest part being of getting this film made?
Um, the first question was most important.
Most important, yeah.
Um, I think for me the most important is to have a feel of authenticity, like I said, to have a
Hmm.
realness to it. I've often said that the biggest compliment for me will be somebody watches it and goes, "You mean that was an indie film? Holy crap!" That'll hit nice. I mean, that'll be like, wow. Um,
Yeah,
Not that there's anything wrong with an indie film. I mean, I've been in 50 plus of them at this point,
yeah,
but they're to have somebody just go, holy cow, this guy, this is his first feature film. This is something that he actually that'll be the mark for me. That'll make me know that it was successful,
right.
regardless what people post on whatever.
Right.
Um,
And it only
but
takes one film to get that. Look at Terrifier. Started out very
yeah,
low budget. Now look where they are.
exactly. That's a very valid point. The most challenging part for me, I think, is having to figure out how many hours you can get in a day and to do what you got to do in a day. Like I said, the auditions, I'm watching all of them. Casting, the writing, the editing of the writing. So I'm still doing revisions, tweaks, modifications. When I find somebody that I like, I based on their audition, I may actually tweak the language of the scene based on their audition if I catch something in their inflections or their language or the words they use. So I try to build the character, not only find a good person for the character, but then adapt the character towards the person as well.
Right, right.
So you got that. I have a website that just literally got put to production today
Okay.
for it all. So it's
Nice.
just yeah. I mean, and like I said in the beginning, this is my hobby. I
Yeah.
have a regular full time job, and I'm still trying to find gigs where I can act and do fight
Yeah.
choreography and all that kind of stuff. So,
Yeah.
and still try to be a good partner to my girlfriend and take care of the house. And
Right.
all that other. So yeah, it's just
There's a lot. I always hated scheduling because there would always be somebody that wouldn't be available when everybody else is,
mhm.
and then when everybody else is not available, that person's available.
Yeah.
Like, come on, you're killing me here.
And that's one of the things I know when we get into the heavier filming, I'm going to face, I'm going to have to deal with.
Hmm.
A lot of the scenes are very two-person, three-person.
Hmm.
So I'm going to get all those taken care of out of the gate.
Yeah.
But when we start getting into the end of December, beginning and middle of January, now you're going to start talking about the main half a dozen to a dozen people. And I know I'm
Yeah.
going to experience that where it's like, well,
Yeah.
this is the only day I can work. And you're like, all right, we got to figure out what to do, or we got to start moving scenes or scrape scenes completely.
Exactly, and it sucks because a lot of the indie actors and actresses, a lot of them have full-time jobs. So
Yeah.
most indie films film on Saturdays and Sundays.
Yep.
And there's only so many Saturdays and Sundays in a season, and if you're looking to film in the fall or looking to film in the summer, because depending on the type of movie or the winter, whatever
Yeah.
movie you're doing, then you only have those months to do it, and then if you have a bunch of day scenes then and it's the winter time, it gets dark a lot sooner. So
Right.
you're really rushing to get these scenes that might be outside and they need to be during the daytime, and that's where we struggled a lot with sound. Like we were fighting, literally fighting I had a dislocated shoulder, and I tried to finish that scene because we were running out of daylight, and it was the
Sure.
only day we had left. So
No, I
yeah,
but the cool thing to it is that you hated it while you're going through it, but you probably have an awesome memory of it now.
I do. Like you can see me holding my arm in when I get sliced, you see me holding my arm, and then the next one, now I'm holding this arm in the scene where I'm actually going out because I'm supposed to be holding it for being, but now I'm holding it for
And
real.
now you actually heard it for
Yeah, it was
real.
the opposite. And that was the opposite arm. Yeah, it sucked. But that's what a lot of people don't realize about indie films. Like we don't have stunt doubles. We don't have
No.
budgets for stunt doubles.
Oh no.
There's a fight scene going on. You have a stunt coordinator on set, and they will help you do it the best way and the safest way possible. But you have to do it yourself.
Yep. No, I've come home with many I think the worst so far was torn muscle between a couple of my ribs from a scene.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
yeah, you deal with it, you heal
Yep.
for a couple of months and you move on.
Yep, somebody on our set tore a meniscus. I mean, it's
Mhm.
just that's the risk of doing it. But you sign that's why you have the contracts and the paperwork and the documents, the legalities. And a lot of people don't realize that's what all goes into indie films.
Yeah.
A lot of it is the legalities, the paperwork, the contracts, and then all the behind the scenes stuff. Whether it's hiring the crew, hiring the cast,
Mhm.
scheduling, it's so much, and it can be very stressful, very quick, and you're like. I'm questioning my life choices now.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. There have been a couple times through the experience so far, and I haven't even gotten to filming yet, where, when I do we have these local competitions here for 8-minute films or 9-minute films, and I write a script in a day, film it in a day and a half, edit it in, get it edited for me in a couple weeks, and we're good to go. And it's like,
Yeah,
nice.
yeah,
This experience, there have been a couple experiences that I've already had where it's like, you know what? Should I? Do I? Is it? And I'm like, no, you just keep pushing forward. Just keep
keep
pushing
pushing
forward.
one
Yep.
day at a time, and eventually it'll work its way out. After all the headaches and all the trouble that bypasses. Because every one thing I learned, and this is some good advice for people that are listening to this, one thing I learned from when I very first got into indie, was there's always going to be an issue that's going to arise, but every issue that arises, there is always a solution. You
Yeah.
just got to find it.
Yeah, so not opportunity is always available. You just got to think outside the box.
Yep.
And I will say, it also helps to have a support system here. My girlfriend
Oh
is
yeah.
phenomenal with respect to that.
Great.
I've bugged her more than a dozen times. The couple of the lead actors have literally said, if you need to just, call me and scream, I'm here. Just that's what I'm here for.
Yeah.
Which, if you think about it, that's not what an actor's supposed to be there for. So it's
Right.
amazing that I have collecting a team of people. You know me, Scotty.
Yeah.
I talk about film family,
Yeah.
and in that regard, it's amazing how film family has stepped up and said, what do you need? I'm here for you.
Yeah.
I mean, perfect example. I just had just yesterday or the day before yesterday. The days are all blur after a while, but um,
I hear that.
looking for a vehicle for a scene to use, and
Yeah.
one of the guys local here, he was like, "I got it," and I'm like, "Yeah, but I'm gonna need you here on this side of the state at sunrise." He was like, "I'm here, man. That's what I'm here for." I
Yeah.
mean, who does that? And I even
Yeah.
told him, I said, "Look, I'll pay you," and he was like, "I don't. You don't need to pay me. That's what I'm here for you, brother." And
Yeah.
that's just amazing.
Exactly. And a lot of people don't realize that we use our own stuff. Like, I had to
Mm-hmm.
entrust my car multiple times to multiple different people just to use my car. And my old car makes a cameo in every freaking film. You see a beat up Kia Soul waiting for the timers and the hamsters to come out, but I mean, you got to do what you got to do. And sometimes, you think you want it to be big and you want it to be spectacular. Oh, I need to use a police car. Well,
Yeah,
will they let me use their car? Maybe, maybe not. No, they
maybe not.
won't.
No.
They might not.
Speaking of using your personal car, have you gotten a chance to watch Depravity yet? Scott King's Depravity?
I haven't.
Okay, if you get a chance, watch it. He does a fight sequence on his scene on his car, and his car, and it's got a lovely big couple dents in there now. So he's got
Oh
a
my gosh.
souvenir.
I
I
have
said,
to watch that.
yeah, yeah, he's got a little head butting and a little body throwing into his own car. Yeah.
Nice. And that gives a good memory, you know.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, like I mean I didn't want to get these are my new glasses, but like my glasses before these, like I didn't want to get them, all dirty. So what do? I borrowed a pair of my mom's that didn't work, no, there was literally no glass in there, and they were just there propped up just for the layout of the death scene. Like
yeah,
a lot of people don't realize that there's a lot that goes into that, and sometimes you have to make sacrifices and use your own personal materials and pray that it doesn't get ruined if it's something you like,
exactly,
because
exactly.
sometimes you don't have the funds for that.
Well, yeah, you don't have the budget to go buy stuff just to dispose of it. So
Exactly, and in order to get those funds, you have to do crowdfunding, which is brings me
yeah.
to my next. That's it. That was a perfect segue.
Great
That brings me
segue.
to my next question. Is there an Indiegogo campaign for this, or will there be if there isn't? And if there currently is, how can anybody that wants to donate find out how can they find it?
Yeah, so yes, we are crowdfunding. You can go to Indiegogo, look for the Hive. You'll see me out
Mhm.
there. There's a picture of a person holding a knife.
Nice.
The blade makes up the I in the word Hive.
I noticed that. I love that shirt.
Yeah, I love. I'm ecstatic the way it came out.
Yeah.
We got shirts, hats. I'm getting a hoodie made next with the
Nice.
logo. I'm trying to get those out. I want to get the visibility out there before we even start filming, so that maybe we can get some commotion, maybe we can get some
Yeah.
visibility, and then people talking about what is that thing kind of thing. So
Yeah.
that's pretty cool. We have obviously associate producer perks. I have a couple.
Hmm.
If you want your picture in the film, you'll either, depending on what's left, you'll either be a victim or you'll be somebody that could have been one of the killers that took care of the people. We're gonna have obviously props. We have killer masks. Um, pretty much anything you can think of. So
Nice.
yeah.
That's awesome. So, before we get into the last question or so, I just want to ask you. I know you're also an actor, as you mentioned.
Yes.
Are you going to be a part of this film? And if so, what is your role and what can you tell us about it?
So it's funny you mentioned that. I originally wrote this film with myself as one of the lead roles,
Hmm.
just because, like you said, when you're having the budget,
Yep.
I'm free.
Yeah.
So I wrote it with
Exactly.
myself in mind the entire time. And as I got to the end of the process and was getting into the next phase, I was like, well, I'm going to be directing it. And one of the things that I've found is that when I am in even a short film, if I'm directing and filming, it's difficult to be on both sides of the lens because you want to see what it looks like on every single take, and now you're kind of wasting people's time.
Hmm.
Um, so I decided, okay, if I auditioned for, or I sent out auditions for a specific role, and a candidate came in and auditioned for the role, and he absolutely beyond nailed the role. And I
Nice.
thought to myself, sat there for a little bit, and I thought to myself, I had to kind of, you bring yourself down a little bit. And you say, okay, if I step away from this role, can this guy fill the shoes? So I reached out to him and I said, I have a proposal for you. I have not announced it yet. This is the role that I was going to be playing. If I send you some stuff, would you like to audition for it? And he said I'd be honored. He goes, I'm about to leave the country. I have to fly out. So yeah, if you can send it over to me, I'd be honored to audition for you.
Mhm.
And I kid you not, I watched his audition for the role that was supposed to be me, and I was like, holy crap. I mean, I was like, yeah, you're good, man. We're good. You got me better than I played me that I was going to be. So you're
Nice.
good. So in that regard, yeah, I wanted to be in the film. So there's a small scene that I'm going to be in just so I can kind of pull an M. Night Shyamalan and cameo
Mhm.
myself into it. But I'm looking to stay behind the lens more than in front of it.
Nice, nice. That's great. And I mean, sometimes, and like for your project, for your baby, you have to do what's best for it, you know. And sometimes, if that means there's a better actor out there that is doing this role, then I need to give this actor that role.
Exactly.
So
Definitely.
it's project before ego, as they always say.
Yep.
Before we get into the last question, I just want to give a shout out. Not really a shout out, but like a mention. Indie actress passed or director too, passed away earlier today. Madeline Deering. I
Yeah.
want to say everybody here at Slasher Scotty sends our thoughts and prayers to her family and her friends and everybody that gotten to know her. She was such a great person. She is a former guest on Slasher Scotty. I had her on to talk about a bathtub shark movie that she made, and I just want to say that I'm thinking of her and her friends and her family and everybody else in the industry that's been affected by her loss. I don't want to bring it down, the interview down, but I needed to give that shout out because that just came out literally
Definitely.
like an hour before this interview went started recording. So I just wanted to give that mention to her because she deserves it. She's a very talented director and a very talented person. And the last question I want to go into is anything else that you would like to promote, any other projects, social media accounts, the website for the Hive, or anything else at
Yeah,
all?
yeah. Website just went live today. It's thehivethemovie.com.
Hmm.
So you can find out pretty much everything there. I'm going to be putting the link for this out there.
Okay.
It's got everybody that's cast so far, links out to their Instagrams, their bios. I'm going to be posting and all of the corresponding news stuff that's going to become from this, any other podcasts that I do, any other articles that are done for this,
Right.
as well as behind the scenes photos, videos once we get started filming. Those will be out there. So, like I said, thehivethemovie.com. Um, as for myself, I got a lot of different irons and a lot of different fires, and I'm just loving life, man. Like I said,
Yeah.
if if 4.5 years ago, roughly, you said, "Hey, Shawn, in a couple years, you're not only going to be meeting and working with some of the people that you watched on the big screen when you were a kid, but you're going to win awards for festivals all over the world, and you're
Yeah.
going to have your own feature film," I would have thought you were absolutely batshit crazy. So,
Yeah.
um, 4.5 years later, and I I'm sometimes I don't want to wake up. If this is a dream, I don't want to wake up because
Oh,
it's
I hear
been
you.
absolutely amazing.
I absolutely hear you. I mean, being in the industry is great. There's some knuckleheads out there, but overall, everybody's a film family. There's more nicer people than there is, bad. I mean, like you said, working with all these people we watched growing up, it's amazing. Like if you told me I was going to be doing shots with David Arquette and he's getting me drunk on Jack Daniels at Monster Mania, I'd be telling you you're full of crap. You're full of
Yeah,
shit. But
yeah.
no, I mean it really is amazing. It's a great, and we're in a big family. For anybody watching this, Sean's a great guy. Telling you that straight up. So donate to the Hive. Not everybody can financially donate, and that's okay. But it does take 2 seconds to share. So your share could lead to other people seeing this, and even if they can't donate, they could share. Or it just brings the old-fashioned word of mouth, social networking type of marketing. Because, like I said, indie films, low budgets, and there's a lot of the budget goes into the movie, which leaves out the marketing side of things. We
Yep.
don't have commercials on cable TV. Like we
This is
just
true.
don't like we don't have the budget for that. So that's where word of mouth and social media comes into play. So if you can't donate, share. But if you can donate, even better. There's a lot of perks as you mentioned. So go on to Indiegogo and look for the Hive. I'm telling you, Sean's a great guy, and you won't be sorry. But Thank you, Sean, for joining me this evening. It's been an honor, and of course, we have to have you back again when the movie's closer coming out and promote it even more.
Sounds good, brother. Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate you.
Absolutely. You have a great rest of your night, buddy.
You as well. Take
All
care.
right. Bye.
Bye bye.